We're back then today with another updated levelling guide for Last Epoch. For today's video, we'll show off one of the quickest and easiest ways to level the Beastmaster Mastery from levels 1 to 80. The build we're using here is the trusty Summon Wolves build. This is a hybrid melee and minion build. With patch 1.1 we got a buff to the health of wolves and also a new unique that allows us to have an army of raptors. So with just one skill change, this build can very quickly transition into that setup once you manage to find the item, because it is a very rare drop, and once you get to level 63 as well. Now, before we do go in and we start breaking it all down, I will mention that with patch 1.1 we've seen a few changes to the passive tree for the Beastmaster. These were mainly around aspect of the boar, but as we fully spec into the Beastmaster tree, these really don't affect as much at all. Regardless, I will talk about them later on in the video. Now, I'll also have some updates to the format of this video based on feedback I received from the levelling guides from patch 1.0. But let's dive in, let's start breaking all this down. So we start off here with a quick general progression infographic. So at level 1 for this setup, you want to summon your wolf. You also want to use autocast for howl. That will give a buff to both yourself and your wolf. Level 3, you'll add Fury Leap to your bar. That helps you get around the stages quicker. Level 4, you'll spec into Summon Wolf, and later on in the video I'll talk about your point allocation for skills you specialise into. At level 5, you'll add Swipe to your bar. This will be your main spender, so you'll be doing damage via Swipe and your wolves. You'll add Warcry to your bar when you get 10 points into Primalist. Around level 16, you'll unlock the Beastmaster Mastery. At level 20, you'll spec into Fury Leap. At level 35, you spec into Warcry. You'll add Summon Frenzy Totem to your bar when you have 25 points in the Beastmaster Mastery. And then finishing up at level 50, you'll then spec into Frenzy Totem. So that is the general progression for the build. Nice and easy, no skill swaps involved. Let's go in and let's look at some useful gear and also your stat priority as well here. For this section here, we'll have a look at useful levelling gear that you want to keep an eye out for, and based on feedback from previous videos, we'll also have a quick breakdown of priority stats that you want to look out for on this build as well. So we'll start off here with the stat priority first. So for this setup, strength is fantastic. That will buff both the damage you do as well as your wolves. You then get melee physical damage, which is specifically for swipe for yourself. Minion damage, of course, will be great for your wolves. In regards to defensive stats, keep an eye out for health. That can be additive, it can be a multiplier, or ideally it will be hybrid health. You want some minion health for your wolves as well, and then finally, movement speed can be pretty nice for a levelling build to get you through the levels quicker. Starting off here with the levelling gear, we'll have a look at weapons first. So you've got Harthanon's Vow, equipable at level 1. This is fantastic for this setup. It's giving you melee damage, melee physical damage. It's also giving you strength, so that will boost your damage and it'll boost the damage of your wolves, and it will also boost your armour and your wolves' health as well. So this is amazing. The next weapon we have that can work out nice is the Beast King. So this will give you flat melee damage, melee physical damage, increased melee attack speed, up to 75% increased minion health, as well as some bonuses in regards to defense if you've killed an enemy recently or if your minions have killed enemies as well. Finally, we have the new unique with patch 1.1. So this is a unique that is geared towards raptors, but it would actually work really pretty nice with this setup as well. So ignore the bottom 3 modifiers, but the ones that do apply to you is up to 17 flat melee damage for you and your minions, so that'll be your wolves of course, up to 10% increased melee speed, and then plus 2 to the level of minion melee skills. Now the wolf tree is one that I never seem to have enough points for, so getting additional points into it is really pretty nice. So this is one that as soon as I get this in game, I reckon I will use this even for the wolf setup. If you're looking for a bit of defence in your build and you have this perhaps in your storage because it is a very rare drop, you've got the Bastion of Honour. This was reworked with patch 1.0 and it's really only for strength characters now, but we are a strength character so we can get some really nice benefits from this. For the helmet slot, with this being a hybrid build, you can actually get quite a lot out of the last bear set. The reason being the free set bonus will give you 30 strength. Both yourself and your wolves will massively benefit from that. So this would be equipable from level 20 if you have this. Ideally though, for the helmet slot you will be looking for Artor's Legacy. It gives you +1 to your maximum companions as well as +2 to the level of minion skills. For the amulet slot we have 3 different options here. We start off with the Claw, equipable at level 4. With this it allows you to summon wolves up to your maximum number of companions. This can really help out early game. Alternatively, if you feel you need a bit of survivability for yourself, you can use the Bleeding Heart. This will give you up to 9% of damage leached as health. And then finally, for the amulet slot we have the Fang, equipable at level 58. It's essentially an upgraded version of the Claw. With this it means your wolves can't be stunned. Starting off with the armour slot, we have the Doublet of Honest Hull. This is equipable at level 5, it will give you flat health, your minions a 40% chance to bleed on hit, useful if you've got multiple minions, and it also increases the duration of the bleed that your minions apply as well. We then have Uzur's Pride. This has the all-important strength stat up to a whopping 15 strength, and this is actually equipable at level 15. Finally, for the armour slot we have another piece of the Last Bear set. Once again, the reason you would want to equip this is for that free set bonus of the additional 30 strength. For the belt slot, one item that can help out early game, this is the Thorn Slinger, equipable at level 12, and it gives you +1 to the level of physical skills. For the rings, we start off with the trusty Arboreal Circuit, equipable at level 1. If you have 2 of these, they can give you, with max rolls, up to 36% increased movement speed, which is really amazing at early game. The next ring we have is the Ribbons of Blood. You would use this at end game as well as leveling. This really is great. Equipable at level 53, it's got various buffs to your defence for your wolves, but the one that really stands out is the fact that with this your minions cannot be crit. We have 2 options for the glove slot. Starting off we have Stormhide Paws, equipable from level 6. These can really up the damage on your swipe early game. And then we have our final piece of the Last Bear set, which once again would give you that additional 30 strength for the full set. We have another new item here that came with patch 1.1. This is the Flight of the Quertsy Boots, equipable at level 14. They can really give you a nice amount of movement, so they give you an additional evade charge. They reduce the cooldown on evade, and when you use evade you'll gain haste, as well as haste gaining an increased effect as well, so great for getting round the levels early game. Another pair of boots that can be great early game is the Advent of the Erased, equipable from level 16. These are quite similar to the last one, it's just a slightly different way you'll proc haste. You'll do this when an enemy dies near to you. There's up to 11% chance for this to proc when that happens. Finishing up the gear here before we check out the idols, you've got the Dedication of an Erased Primalist Relic, equipable from level 30, increased minion health, +1 to the level of all Primalist skills, and also it will give you the Aspect of the Spider buff, which will buff your wolves as well. For the idol slot, we'll quickly run over some of the useful modifiers available on the small idol. You have increased health regen and increased physical damage, as well as increased minion physical damage. On the humble idol we have vitality as well as increased shared physical damage. The large idol offers a chance on melee kill to heal a random minion to full health, really helps out with survivability, as well as shared melee damage for yourself and your minions. The Ornate idol will provide up to 7 vitality and increased minion melee attack speed. The Adorned idol gives you minion increased healing effectiveness and increased minion melee attack speed once again. The Grand Idol provides increased health regen and increased minion critical strike chance. And the final idol we have here is the Huge idol, so it provides minion increased cooldown recovery speed, so that will allow your wolves to use Howl more often, as well as shared increased melee damage, so that will be for you and your wolves. Now just as we finish up this section here, infographic showing off the stat priority once more and the leveling gear that you want to keep an eye out for. Now the next section we'll run over will be the blessings. With patch 1.1 for Last Epoch there, we received a change to blessings where we now have a blessing library which gives you much easier access to blessings, albeit at minimum roll if it is on an alt character. Now for that reason I've slightly changed the format of this section and I've included all the timelines that give you a stat boost and the stat I would recommend you go for. So for Fall of the Outcast I would recommend experience. For the Black Sun I would go for a flat amount of health. Ending the Storm, I would go for increased health regen. Reign of the Dragons, there's quite a few options available. You've got increased physical damage, melee damage, leech, all resistances and critical strike avoidance. For the Age of Winter, you can get increased armour, and then Spirits of Fire, I would recommend going for the increased minion damage. So that's the blessings. Let's now talk about the passive point allocation. For this section here, we will use the awesome build planner on Last Epoch tools. Now I've got a link to this particular build in the description below. If you check in that, you'll actually be able to get the progression of all the nodes as I fill them in. For the purpose of this video, I'll just run over the nodes and what they actually do. So starting off with the base Primalist tree, we have 6 points into Gift of the Wilderness. It gives us additional health and our minions additional health as well. We have 8 points into Primal Strength, so that's giving us strength and increased health regen. And then we have 6 points into Survival of the Pack. So this gives both ourselves and our minions increased melee damage, as well as melee damage leached as health. The bulk of our points then will of course go into the Beastmaster tree. With patch 1.1 we had a few changes to this that actually freed up a couple of points for us, which is really nice, and there's various nodes that give us additional health regen as well. But to run through the different nodes here, you've got Earthsign Strength. This is fantastic. It gives you 8 strength, and damage taken from nearby enemies is reduced by 16%. We have 5 points into Boar Heart. It gives you Aspect of the Boar. When you have this, you'll take 15% reduced damage. We have 1 point into Savagery, which allows us 1 point into Ambush, which in turn allows us 5 points into Rend and Maw. So with this, when we have Aspect of the Shark, we get that from doing a melee attack. We have a 100% armor shred chance. 2 points into Hunters of the Deep means that this actually applies to our companions, so we'll also be shredding armour all over the place with this. We have 8 points into the Chase, so that's increased minion attack speed and minion move speed. This is the new node here, Natural Fortitude, so with this we get 8 strength, 16 health regen, plus health regen for our companions. We then have the Threshold bonus as well, which is increased health regen of 2% per strength that we have, so that's amazing for survivability. It applies to us and our wolves as well, so great new node this one. We have 5 points into Axe and Claw. It gives us increased melee physical damage and our minions increased melee physical damage. 1 point Wonder, Life in the Wilderness. It means that our endurance also applies to our companions. We have 5 points into Porcine Constitution. This used to be earlier in the tree, but it's moved up further. With this now, you get the 15% additional reduced damage with Aspect of the Boar, so that takes it up to 30%. You also get 75% increased health regen as well, and 20% chance to proc Aspect of the Boar on melee hit. You'll be hitting often with Swipe as well. 8 points into Cry of the Lynx. That gives us increased critical strike chance and the Aspect of the Lynx buff. We have 6 points into Serrated Claws, so it gives us additional damage for our crits and for our companions as well. And then 10 points into Ancient Might. That's more strength and also more flat physical damage for our minions and ourselves. So that's the passive tree. Let's look at the skills now. So the first specialised skill here we have is Summon Wolf. We've got the progression baked in the link below so you can see it all there. So for the purpose of this video, what we'll do is we'll just quickly run over the nodes. The first node we have points going into Savage Hunters. It allows us to unlock Tundra Stalkers, allows us 1 point into Winterborn, which then allows us 1 point into Pack Hunters. So we're using all those nodes just really to get to this one for the maximum companion. We then have 4 points going into On the Hunt. It's a nice node, but it allows us access to Howl of the Might. So when your wolves howl, you gain triple this bonus you see on screen. So when they howl for a few seconds after it, you actually gain 120% more damage and 120% more dodge rating, which is amazing. In regards to getting your wolves to howl, of course you can just auto cast the skill to get that to happen, but you've also got Victory Howl. So with this one here, when your wolves kill an enemy, there's a 30% chance they will howl, and it won't use the mana cost of it or put it in cooldown or anything like that. Our remaining points, we put 1 additional point into Savage Hunters and then 1 point into Legendary Bright. This was changed with patch 1.0. It used to be multiple points you can put in it. It's only 1 now, but it's really nice the bonus you get from it. Our next ability we have here, and one that you'll really be using the majority of the time, you'll be hitting enemies with swipe while your wolves are attacking them, but you want 5 points into Way of the Hunt, that gives you hit damage and health leech. 2 points into Wingarian Reach, allows us 2 points into Culling, so that is the 14% kill threshold, that's great for bosses. The full 5 points into Aspect of the Panther, that allows you to have 5 stacks of this. 3 points into Wild Calling, so when you attack with swipe and hit at least one enemy, a chance to call forth a Spirit Wolf, and the damage with this will be based on minion damage and also strength as well. We then have 1 point into Feline Hunter, that's increased global attack speed, and 2 points into Lion Strength, that allows you to get more stacks of the Aspect of the Panther. Our next specialised ability is Fury Leap. With this one here, we have 5 points into Warrior's Entrance. It gives us increased melee damage for both ourselves and our wolves for 3 seconds after we leap. We have 1 point into Pack Leader, so your wolves will actually leap with you. 1 point into Frenzied Onslaught. After leaping, both ourselves and our minions will gain Frenzy. 2 points into Wings of Endurance, that allows us 1 point into Battle Bloom. So with this one, when you land, you cleanse all ailments on you and your minions, and Fury Leap is available every few seconds, so having a cleanse available every few seconds is really pretty awesome. We have 4 points into Panther Strike, increases the damage on this skill and reduces the cooldown. 5 points into Ambush Predator, and then 1 point into Gravity, so you'll pull the enemies towards you, and your wolves will leap with you as well, so when you're pulling the enemies towards you, your wolves are coming with you and they'll just smash everything. We then have Warcry. This seen some slight changes with patch 1.1. The cooldown was changed from 10 seconds to 18 seconds. However, you'll see the second paragraph of this tooltip here is 20% of the remaining cooldown of the skill is recovered whenever you stun an enemy, and you should be stunning them relatively often with this setup. The point allocation anyway is 1 point into Juggernaut, 1 point into Berserker, allows you to get the Berserk buff. We then have 5 points into Brutality, that allows you to get up to 15 stacks of the Berserk buff, and it increases the duration of it. And the reason we're really wanting all those stacks is for Fury Strikes, so each stack of that gives you an additional 12% attack speed, so you'll be attacking exceptionally quick when you've got all the stacks from it. We have 2 points into Deep Roar, increases the area of Warcry. 4 points into Battle Cry, which is fantastic, it's 100% increased crit chance, and that's for you and your allies. You've got Ferocity, 1 point into that, and it means when Warcry is on cooldown there's a chance it'll be cast again. 2 points into Staggering Roar, allows 1 point into Apprehend, so we'll pull enemies towards us when we use Warcry. The final specialised skill we have then is Summon Frenzy Totem. You'll be using this often as well. So with this, it's 3 points into Rabidity. This gives an increased frenzy effect on your minions up to 24%. 5 points into Bestial Frenzy, so that your minions will do increased flat physical damage. 1 point into Furious Cry, so when you use your Frenzy Totem it will refresh Howl if that's actually on cooldown. 5 points into Lead the Pack, which is increased crit chance granted after your Wolf's Howl, a whopping 250%. 2 points into Reinforced Totem, we're really putting them in there so we can get 4 points into Reach, and that means the totem will affect allies in a larger area, so it's more likely to affect your wolves. So that is everything you need to know for one of the quickest and easiest ways to level the Beastmaster Mastery for patch 1.1 for Last Epoch. There are a lot more leveling guides on the channel, so if you've enjoyed this one, feel free to check them out. And thanks for tuning in for this video. Stay safe, I'll see you all again soon.